solemnly swear from testimony I can give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Good morning, Mr. Pace.
Good morning.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Travis Wayne Pace.
Are you the father of Jasmine Pace?
I am.
Are you married or divorced from Katrina Pace?
I'm divorced.
How long have you known Katrina Pace?
25 years.
I want to talk about the time from November 26, 27. Okay? What did you do when you realized your daughter was missing?
The night started, it was like a Saturday night. We were doing a Friendsgiving downtown. I was with my girlfriend at the time,
What was your name?
Jacqueline. And my daughter, Gabby, called me and said, Dad, Jasmine's missing. I think it's really serious. We need your help. I said, where are you at? And it was a location that she didn't know the address. And I was like, just send me your map and I'll just get to you. And it took us to a building near Tremont, but it was on the other side. It was an apartment complex beside it, just one building over. And met them face to face right there. And she goes, her car was last parked near right here.
Where's right here?
I don't know the name of the side street. It's like a little loop that it makes from Tremont, and it loops around. And it's like a one-way. You had to loop around to the other side. I don't know the name of the street. But I was like, if she's in this building, let's get in this building.
So you're talking about, let me just make sure. Have you been, throughout this trial, have you been in this room?
I have.
And you've heard all the testimony?
I have.
And so when I say 110 Tremont Street, do you understand that to be the apartment building that Jason Chen lives in?
I do.
What did you do when you got to 110 Tremont Street?
Tried to get in the immediate front door, which was locked with a keypad, and walked around to the back of the building, one of the other exits, and got into the back door.
How'd you get into the back door?
Just opened it.
It was unlocked.
I think so.
You didn't have to do anything to the door to get it open. What did you do after you made your way inside the building?
Walked to the front door and opened it for everybody else.
And who's everybody else?
Katrina, my daughter, Gabrielle, Jack.
Then what did you proceed to
Stayed on the first floor to where we could see any exits and the staircase and the elevator, and began knocking as loud and obnoxiously as we could to disturb everybody in the whole building.
do? What were you knocking on people's doors?
Every door, in sequence order.
What did you do after you were knocking on people's doors?
Nobody answered them. That's what I said. We said we got to try the second floor next. But we didn't want to leave the first floor, just in case. So we were talking about how to split up in a way that was safe. 3 women. And then one of her friends, Wayne, also showed up.
How long until he showed up?
I couldn't tell you minutes or hours. that night.
And did you personally know Wayne Tubbs?
I hadn't met him yet.
Is he still alive?
I don't think he is.
So you went up to the second floor?
We did.
Who all went up to the second floor?
All of us.
Prior to this, had you had any interaction with the Chattanooga Police Department or law enforcement in here?
I had not.
Why didn't you call the police before going into the apartment building?
I did.
You did call.
I did. I tried to call police department. I tried to call TBI. I tried to call FBI. It was a holiday. It was Saturday night. You only get after hours, leave a message. No switchboard, no immediate person that would pick up the phone or answer.
Can you tell, what were you feeling at the time?
I don't think it was a feeling for me. It was, she's missing. We'll find her. And if she's missing and in danger, it has to be fast. I was feeling rushed. That's what I was feeling. Fast.
So you and all the other, the four of you, right? You make it up to the second floor.
Yep.
Did you enter into an apartment house?
We did.
How do you know what apartment to enter into?
A few things. One of them was, while we were in the staircase, there was a third floor tenant, and we met in the staircase. And obviously it's awkward at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We said, not trying to startle you, softly, is there any chance you know of Jasmine Pace or Jason Chen, her boyfriend? And he said, yes. We said, can you help us? He explained that he had a sister that had went through something similar. He welcomed him up to the third floor to open up all the laptops that we could, to do anything that we could do to move any direction forward. After that, he talked about a dumpster in the back, and he talked about a sewer manhole in the back. And he said, hypothetically, if I was to discard something, maybe I would. So they stayed in the third floor. We left, went outside to see if there's anything of significance around the trash or anywhere. And we came back up and met him again. And he said, I'm sure he does not live on the third floor, but I see him in a stairwell sometimes. He probably will not be on a stairwell because he lives on the first floor. He probably lives on the second floor, not the first. He definitely does not live on the third. Simultaneously saw the angle of where that dot was, and it was in the southwest corner of the building itself. There's an elevator and one bedroom next to the elevator, or one apartment room. I said, maybe we're close, within a door or two on the second floor. We knocked on the first 2 doors right beside each other. The one on the left answered and said it was so substantial we documented something around 2:15, something of noise. We heard something around 2:15. It was so substantial I documented it on my phone. We said, is it come from that wall or that wall? And they said, that wall. And there's only one room before the stairwell. And I said, there's a reasonable chance this could be the exact room. It's not the third, it's not the first, it's not that one. There's a stairwell. This might be it.
Was that apartment 210?
It was apartment 210.
Did you or anyone else make entry into apartment 210?
Sorry.
Did you or anyone else make entry into apartment 210?
Yes.
Who made entry into apartment 210?
Me and Wayne made entry.
How'd you do it?
I lifted the handle.
Lifted the handle.
Correct.
Did you use a credit card?
The
your credit card to open that door?
I could not.
Why not?
The way that that door jammed and the way that the door lock is, nobody could use their credit card.
Why? How do you know that?
In order to use a credit card, you have to be able to slide it and push a mechanism. Because of the jam sticking out past the actual slide, you can't get a credit card in there.
Who went into the apartment?
I did, and Wayne was behind me.
Can you take me through what you did from once you opened the door?
First of all, I said, I have no idea what's behind this door. Don't know it's the right door. I don't know what would be seen if it was the right door. I am the only one with a pistol drawn.
Okay. So you were armed that night?
I was.
What were you armed with?
A pistol.
What kinds?
Heckler cock.
Are you proficient in firearms?
I'm an expert.
Go ahead.
I pulled it with a flashlight to make sure that it was secure. I said to everybody else, don't come in, don't follow me. It's not secure until I know what's behind here. And it could not, chance it may not even have been the right place. And I would have confronted a random tenant and surprised them by breaking into a random tenant's. There was just so much.
What did you do when you went into the apartment? Please describe your activity.
There's a way to attempt to clear a room, an apartment, and where probable places where somebody could be hiding or surprise you, and you safely, sequentially go left to right, back to front in order, and don't let anything be behind you, basically. So slow, methodical. So every door, every cabinet in sequence, that's finished, move forward. That's finished, move forward till you get to the bedroom.
What did you do in the bedroom?
Looked, there were no persons in the bedroom. So now I turned around with a different goal of not looking for a person, but to look for evidence of Jasmine.
What did you do to look for evidence of Jasmine?
The cabinets were open, things were on the surface, and it appeared there were female products in the bathroom. And walking forward and opened the drawer.
The drawer of what?
There was a computer desk in the top left of the apartment if you're facing to the hallway.
So if you enter in through the door, is it to the
It's
right?
to the right immediately. There's a computer desk. Open the drawer. Jasmine's driver's license was right there on the top, stacked up in a pile. Slid it, her credit cards, her bank cards, a stack of all of Jasmine's cards and identifications are right there.
What did you do with it?
I took them out of the drawer and I spread them apart widely, distinctly, from left to right.
Why did you do
The way that the police have rules, without a search warrant, they could not open a drawer and look for those themselves. And me telling them that they were there, it was hearsay. But if I laid it across the countertop and they flashed their light on it and recorded it, they can show that to missing persons. There's something moving it forward.
it? You needed to do something to help the police investigate your missing person.
Yes.
What did you do after you laid out the cards?
Called 911. Actually, as soon as I opened the drawer and I saw the cards, I called 911 and told them to call 911. This is absolutely the apartment that Jasmine was in.
Would you recognize your voice on the 911 call?
Possibly.
Gunnar, can we have Bennett's laptop?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, before this is played for the jury, the witness would have to authenticate what's going to be played for the jury.
Okay, so you object to this point without proper foundation?
Sure, the foundation has to be laid, Judge.
Well, we can send the jury out and listen to it, I guess.
Let's do that.
Okay. Jury can step out, play back in. Some water, Mr. Pace? Mr. Pace, would you like some water?
Yes, please.
May I proceed?
Did not happen.
County County 911, what's the issue of your emergency?
There has been a kidnapping.
Mr. Pace, is that you?
I believe so.
So, okay.
And possibly exploited sex trafficking
What's the
of
address?
my daughter. We are at 110 Tremont. It's called the Loft at Tremont.
What's the apartment number?
And it's in room 210 on the second floor.
Okay. What's going on?
So we knew that our daughter had been gone since Wednesday. We've been following posts. We filed a police report on missing persons.
And do you continue to recognize your voice?
I believe that's me.
Was this the night, or was this the early morning of November the 27th when you called it, 2022?
Yes, it is.
Is this the foundation you're objecting to, General?
No, Your Honor, it's also hearsay.
It's suppression, it's not suppression. And,
There's no such thing on the Tennessee law.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It goes to the state of mind.
Okay, so what's the relevance of the state of mind that he already testified that he felt rushed? Can you tell me the relevance of the state of mind for the particular 911 call that hasn't been testified to?
If I kept playing it, it'll confirm his testimony.
So it confirms testimony?
Yes.
That's a well, hang on, that's a prior consistent statement, and that's not admissible unless his credibility is impeached, and then at that point, the other party can play his prior consistent statement. So if there's nothing inconsistent about it, okay, all right, so a motion to, or request to play 911 is over. Anything else about this before we bring the jury back in?
No, Your Honor.
Bring the jury back in. They're ready, Your Honor. Bring them. Watch your meeting.
Did you call 911?
Yes.
And as a result of calling 911, what happened?
They were going to send officers to the scene.
And did officers come?
They did.
What did they do when they were there?
Two of them walked through the apartment initially. A third one showed up, and at some point, they broke us to get individual statements, and I believe also talked to the neighbor right beside Jason's apartment. So,
Did any of those officers go inside the apartment?
I believe so.
Did they see the ID card and credit cards that you laid out?
I'm not aware of what they saw.
Did they do anything to help you that night? Police officers.
Yeah,
What did they do?
they helped me keep looking for her. Us, or fairly, us.
They encouraged you to keep looking.
No, they was going to take a report and submit a report to missing persons. I said, you get them on the scene. They're on standby, they're not reporting to the scene. Call your detective or your sergeant and put pressure on their sergeant to make their sergeant force homicide.
Forced homicide.
To come, to show up. He said, the best I can do would be to tell my sergeant that I think it's important to put pressure on their sergeant and see what happens. It's the best I can do for you.
Did they tell you not to go back into the apartment?
I don't remember.
Did you ever go back into the apartment?
Yes,
When did you go back into the apartment?
immediately, right when they drove off.
And what did you do in there?
Continue to look for more things.
What were you looking for?
Anything that would lead to finding Jasmine.
How long were you in the apartment?
Couldn't tell you.
More or less than an hour.
Maybe an hour.
Was that the last time you entered into the apartment?
It was.
So you entered into the apartment that one day, twice.
Correct.
Mr. Pace, You were there with Katrina Pace when you were interviewed by Detective Crawford and Detective Teach, weren't you?
I was there.
You were there, you were here in this courtroom in February of last year, and you heard Katrina Pace testify then, didn't you?
I was here.
And then this past Monday, you were in this room when you saw Katrina Pace testify on that stand, right?
I was.
Were any of those statements true?
We remember it differently.
I'm sorry, were those statements true? I need a verbal response.
Who am I to say what the truth is?
Did a resident of the apartment building open the door for you and I guess the four of you to come in the building?
No,
Who did that?
I didn't.
Did Katrina Pace or others get into Jason's store with a credit card?
I'm not aware if they did or not.
Did they get in? Who was the first person to get into the door?
I was.
Did you ever see Katrina Pace or another person use a credit card to get into the door?
I did not.
And you said earlier it'd be impossible to use a credit card to get into that door?
I did.
You heard Katrina testify that she went back into the apartment multiple times after that night, or after that morning?
I heard that.
Were you with her those times?
I was not.
Do you know what she did in the apartment during those times?
I didn't know.
One moment, sir. Does your ex-wife, Katrina Pace, does she have a reputation for being honest?
Objection, Your Honor.
May proceed.
Mr. Pace, in your opinion, does Katrina Pace, is she a honest person?
I don't have an opinion.
You don't have an opinion? What about reputation? Does she have a reputation for being an honest person?
I'm not qualified on people's reputations.
Did you have any concerns about Katrina testifying on Monday?
I didn't.
Did you address anyone with those concerns?
I didn't.
Who did you address? Sir, I'm sorry to ask. I know this is hard. But you can speak up for us. Who did you address?
The DA.
And how did she react to your concerns?
Good.
Did you address your concerns with anyone else?
The office. So, just the DA's office.
The DA's office. Anyone other than the DA's office or anyone in?
Not that I recall.
One moment here.
Sir.
you receive a subpoena to testify in this trial?
I did.
By who?
Mistake.
Did you ever receive a subpoena from the defense attorney?
I did not.
Were you ever notified by the defense that they were going to call you as a witness today?
I was not.
Did they tell you Monday?
I did not.
Did they tell you Tuesday?
I did
Did they
not.
tell you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Did they tell you this morning? You didn't know you were being called as a witness until you were sitting right there and he said your name. Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you and Katrina been divorced?
20 years.
Is it fair to say that y'all don't have a great relationship? Is it fair to say that this whole experience has been hard on your already tough relationship?
It's fair.
Would you say that you're the one that initially saw Jasmine's photo ID, her driver's license, and her credit cards in Mr. Chen's apartment?
I believe so.
Were they in the desk drawer?
They were.
And you took them out and put them on the desk, is that correct?
I did.
And you were knocking on doors because you couldn't find your daughter, could you?
Correct.
And all you were trying to do was find your daughter.
Correct.
You were desperate. You were desperate.
Yeah.
You thought she might be in Jason Chen's apartment, didn't you?
I don't know that part. I just,
Would you have done anything to get in that apartment?
I would.
Because you had reason to believe, based on what the neighbors told you, that she could have been in danger.
Yeah.
You have a military background, is that correct, sir?
I do.
Is that one reason you're proficient in firearms?
It is.
Did you clean anything up in Mr. Chen's apartment?
No.
Did you plant any evidence in Mr. Chen's apartment?
Other than moving her credit cards and her driver's license. I don't know if that's planted or
You
not.
didn't take anything in there and leave it?
I did not.
Did you have any idea at the time what had happened to your daughter?
No.
Did you have any idea that she had been stabbed to death at that time?
Definitely not.
She hadn't been located, had she? But did you know that he might be involved?
Yes. With certainty. Because he lied about speaking with her, about the duration, about the timing.
And you were aware that he had lied.
Fully aware.
How?
I had him on the phone. And then even when we were sitting at Waffle House, we called an additional phone number, and they said it's probably not going to be successful because they speak Asian. I knew just enough to hold a conversation to start it right there at Waffle House. And then, if that's your girlfriend, you're participating with the parents to look for her. What can I do? I'm equally concerned that she's missing. How can we find her together? And the fact that that wasn't happening was the biggest immediate flag. He's my number one suspect.
Well, did he tell you that he did it, but it's because she came after him with wine glasses?
No, he lied.
When did he say he had seen her last?
He lied about that.
Do you recall when he had said he had seen her last?
I don't remember exactly what he said. I just know that it wasn't what the phone record showed. It was different than what we had proof of.
He wasn't concerned about her, was he?
No.
At all, was he?
No.
Were you monitoring Facebook during this time period?
We were.
Do you recall a time that week when a photo was posted from your daughter's Facebook account?
It was literally like the match that lit this whole thing on fire, because it was not a modest photograph posted on Facebook, and anybody that knew Jasmine knew she would not have posted that. And it was a different timeline of her photo, so it wasn't even recent either. There was just so many problems with it that it drew immediate red flags to everybody in the family. And friends, and people that knew her.
What day was that posted?
I believe that was the same Saturday, the 22nd,
And how'd you know it wasn't
26th,
the 26th, Saturday the 26th?
Saturday the 26th.
And how'd you know it wasn't a recent photo of her?
She has tattoos, and we can know basically what month and year it is on which tattoos she has.
Did she have tattoos in the photo she allegedly posted from her Facebook the week of Thanksgiving?
They were missing, which means that it most definitely was an earlier photograph.
Do you think if you saw that Facebook post you would recognize it?
I would.
May we approach, Your Honor?
I'm sorry I have to show you this photo, but do you recognize it? You
I
can
do.
look at the second page as well, please.
Yes, I remember this.
Is that an accurate reflection of the Facebook post that came from Jasmine Face's Facebook as you saw it that week?
It is.
Your Honor, I'd ask that this be the state's next exhibit.
I've got 223.
Your Honor. Maybe different.
Yes. There was an exhibit for item only, that's 223. Okay,
May I have DVD, Your Honor?
yes.
I'm not even gonna try to fool with making it larger. I don't know, this PowerPoint system's not always my best friend. Is this the photo that I just showed you?
Yes, it is.
Is that your daughter? Is that your daughter?
It was.
Does she have tattoos on her arm, on her shoulder in that photo, Mr. Pace?
No.
Does that say enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby?
It does.
And you now know that when that was posted from Facebook, she was dead. Is that right? And you now know that at this point in time, he had her phone, didn't he?
You did.
Nothing further, Judge.
You ready? jury have any questions for Mr. Pace?
No one else? Council Burke?
Mr. Pace, as you know, the jury has some questions, so I'm going to ask them. Take your time answering if you need to, all right? But just face the jury when you answer the questions, okay? How did you know Jason Chen was Jasmine's boyfriend?
I didn't necessarily know that it was her boyfriend. I knew that they had been speaking. His name had been spoken about, and that they knowingly went on a trip to Chicago together, and that his name was relevant. So we knew they were at least somehow close enough to take a trip to Chicago. More than that, I wasn't aware how much more that they were dating or not dating. At least enough to go to Chicago.
You might have answered in that last answer of this one, but I'll ask it anyway. Had Jasmine ever mentioned Jason Chen to you?
No, she never mentioned Jason Chen to me directly. But she did mention him directly to other people that she trusted and loved and was concerned about, sharing things that were important to her.
You said you lifted the handle to get into the apartment. Was the door open? How did the door get open?
I did lift the handle. I believe I just broke the mechanism, lifting so hard. And then after I entered, I unlocked the back of it after I entered so that I could turn the handle and get in freely again and again.
Did anyone in your party search the dumpster area on the night of 11/26/27? Do you recall if anyone saw particles of clothing or a sanitary pad?
Yes, we did. We did on that night, and for the next.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. Say you did search the dumpster area, or you did see the articles of clothing and sanitary pads, or both?
Both.
Okay.
We did search him. We did see both.
Was Katrina Pace ever inside the apartment at the same time you were?
Yes, I believe she was.
Were you present when any items were taken from the apartment? If so, what do you recall being collected? Did you take anything from apartment 210? I'll ask it one at a time. Were you present when any items were taken from the apartment?
No, I was not present for that.
Did you take anything from apartment 210?
No, I did not. Possibly, and I really don't recall. Possibly we would have on the very next entrance, right after the police had left, and we kind of all concluded that their help was going to be less than expedient, and we may have actually grabbed all of her IDs and stuff at that exact moment, but it's a blur if we grabbed them at that next moment, or it's a blur. I don't specifically remember that we grabbed them at that exact moment. but it's reasonable that that's probably when it happened.
Just kind of following up with that, just want to make sure you understood that when the juror's question was, did you take anything? You mentioned we took things from apartment 210. Did you physically take anything yourself from apartment 210?
No, I did not take anything from the apartment.
Do you recall smelling marijuana when you entered the apartment?
I don't recall smelling marijuana, but I do expressly remember the bong that was on the computer stand and a baggie beside it, which maybe it's a crime, maybe it's not a crime, but we pointed that out, or we expressed that they should be looking and knowing that it was in there, that maybe it was somehow related, or maybe we would have known fingerprints or something like that. So it was pointed out. But the smell itself, there was no smell.
If you do remember, what items do you remember observing on the bed at the time you arrived for the first time?
I think all that I remember on the bed was the pillow, blankets. It was messy. It wasn't made up. So there's a lot of wrinkles and folds. Possibly there was clothing on top of the cover, the bed itself. I don't think anything else was on there at that time.
Can you redirect based on what the jury asked?
Very much.
Yes. All right, jurors, we're going to take a break at this point. It's 10 minutes to 12. Try to have you back at 5 minutes after 12. Be in recess for 15 minutes. See the chambers coming.
Have a seat, sir. Mr. Chen.
Mr. Pace, one of the things in our conversation in chambers, it happened to talk about whether or not you'd be asked any more questions from either side. Neither side has any more questions for you, so you may sit down.